All right, everyone, welcome to Nintendo Enthusiast Radio. This is Jason, and with me I have Dakota.
How's it going, everyone?
And Eli.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about Nintendo at E3 and what our thoughts are about their showcase this year. So Eli, do you want to get right into it? What did you think about Nintendo at E3 this year?
So first of all, I want to say that they had probably the best lineup out of the top three companies, and a lot of people are getting mad at me because I was being very critical of Nintendo, because Nintendo did push a bunch of their stuff back to 2015, which really annoyed me, and their first-party 3DS lineup is very, very weak, but there's a ton of third-party stuff there, so I'm not really worried about the 3DS. But overall, out of the top three companies, I thought Nintendo had the best games on their show floor, the most games on the show floor, and I'm very happy with how they did. And their digital event was awesome, so that's what I thought.
I'm gonna have to agree with Eli here. I mean, Nintendo really went above and beyond to show everyone, hey, you guys really need to buy a Wii U and a 3DS because you're missing out on all these great video games and nothing else. Like, it's other than like awesome amiibo figures. Like, Nintendo like got to the games and showed everyone like, all right, all right, we're gonna give you a reason to buy. This is what you need to buy the system for, and that's why they showed up Smash so hard. We got to see new Zelda, hints at a new Star Fox game, and of course, the really strong, rest of the Wii U and 3DS libraries that are coming, and the amiibo figures. I mean, Nintendo went all out, and if you were at, we were on the show floor, but for people who weren't, I mean, you get there and there was just demos everywhere. For all the new games, it was so easy to pick up and play everything. Everything's so open and spacious. But at the same time, there's stuff like literally everywhere. Like there's like so many things to try out. That it felt like Nintendo was such a clear-cut winner, because when you go into the other booth, it's like it doesn't even compare.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys. I don't think we can praise this enough. Like when I was watching the other conferences, I was really interested in them, but overall I was bored, and Nintendo just came out swinging. I mean, their digital event just blew me away, like that introduction with the fight scene and just how they were just one bomb after the other. I was up in the air when the digital event hit. So when I landed, I had to kind of absorb this news all at once, and it was just like left, right. There was so much stuff falling. And Star Fox for Wii U, I mean, that is what I wanted from this E3. And I mean, we got the announcement, of course, but would have loved to have seen more about that.
The thing I really got to praise Nintendo for doing is that they were able to change how people perceive them at E3 and do it so effectively and successfully. I mean, I think the digital event was a huge success. I mean, it really kind of humanized Nintendo, and you got to see into the treehouse, which is kind of this thing that Nintendo, if you've been a Nintendo gamer for a while, you may not know too much about it, but you've definitely heard the name a number of times. And again, just the amount of passion and love that you've seen from Nintendo and the games and the reception from the players, and the people who are buying the game. I mean, you have the Invitational for one of their games. You have a huge digital event to show off all these games and all these demos. I mean, you have the Nintendo Direct for everything else. The Q&As. Three, I guess you can call it three Smash reveals, but no Ridley and no Metroid games, so I gotta dock Nintendo for that. So
you got a Pac-Man though. How do you feel about that?
Well, okay, so but that's the thing though, is that we kind of knew Pac-Man was coming. Like, Namco's making the game, like, duh. Like, Pac-Man wasn't to be in the game. Like, everyone's like, no, it's going to be a Tails character. Like, no, obviously, if Mega Man and Sonic and Mario are in the game, this is going to be their opportunity to put Pac-Man in the game. And I love Pac-Man. I'm a huge Pac-Man fan, but I love like the old Pac-Man games. I like the new stuff. And I think Pac-Man's a cool character, and they like captured him perfectly in this game, so I'm hyped about it. Palutena, great addition, but we knew she was coming because we saw Pit's Final Smash didn't have her anymore, and Kid Icarus Uprising came out. I mean, we knew Palutena was going to be in the game, and we kind of knew that Mii's were going to be in the game, and Mii's really aren't that hype anyway. So it's like, I'm hype about the Smash reveals, but at the same time, they could have been much better. Like, they were kind of this. It was surprising how safe they were. Like, considering how all out they were going for Smash and how much they were showing, kind of safe that they didn't make any reference to Ridley or any King K. Rool, which has been hinted at a lot, or Mewtwo. And instead picking really, really safe options in terms of showing off, even stages. No new big stage. We didn't get to see a stage that was, unique to E3 at all. And when Pac-Man and Palutena and Mii Fighter were announced, they're not available to be played. So I'm gonna dock Nintendo for points on there too. So from 10 out of 10, because they didn't have the Smash reveals I wanted and no Metroid, maybe 9.5. I don't know.
Now, speaking of Metroid, I think that's one thing, Eli, that you really missed from this year's E3. Aside from you mentioned that you thought that there was a weak 3DS lineup, and of course no Metroid, right?
They're still making it. I will bet anyone that since Retro, because they didn't reveal Retro's new game, which means that they're still working on it, and I'm positive they have 2 development teams. I will bet anyone that there's a 3DS Metroid game in development. They reveal it. They probably reveal it at, I don't know, Tokyo Game Show, or maybe not far enough along to reveal. But I bet you there is still a 3DS Metroid game in the works. I would like take anyone.
Oh yeah, I feel like I don't think anyone should really argue that. I feel like it's gonna be like what exactly it's gonna be, because I feel like think about it. Metroid hasn't had a portable, or not portable, but a side-scrolling game since 2004. And Dread's been rumored since forever, and obviously they're gonna make another not first person, but another console Metroid because of the success of the Prime trilogy, and because they probably want to get as far away from Other M as possible. So in that respect, I'm kind of happy that they didn't announce Other M2 or Another M or whatever, because that would probably have been the worst thing ever. I would just own Nintendo if they had done that.
Wrong. Other M is actually a good
Other
game.
M is such a bad game. Like, oh my god, don't even get me started. Anyway, but I do think that it's important to note that they didn't say anything about Metroid, considering the fact everyone kind of assumed that they were going to. So I'm gonna have to agree with Eli that there's definitely a lot in the works. I wouldn't be surprised if they announced both games kind of at the same time, or at least around the same time, kind of like Prime and Fusion. Hopefully, I'm kind of hoping for Metroid Prime Hunters 2, like they bring the Hunter series to the console to console, like give it a good single player and then give it awesome multiplayer, and then make a sequel to Fusion on the 3DS. That would be hype.
All right. I also want to talk about the digital event itself, because personally, I was kind of skeptical about the digital event, and even though I think a press conference would have still functioned better, I think that they did really well. It ended up being a lot better than I thought, and the fact that we were sitting in the media room, and the fact that the 4 of us watching together were all cracking up in the middle of the media room, I think that's very telling, because Nintendo was making fun of themselves, and that's when they're at their best, and when they're just like, because this E3 proved one thing, the fact that they're like, they understand the fact that the Wii U probably will not get massive appeal ever, but they've made the Wii U a console for the fans, and one that the fans that buy it are going to love, and I think they really understood that and embraced that at this E3, and that's why I really admire them, and I feel like all the humor and the whole digital event itself kind of exemplified the fact that this console is here for the hardcore fans, this console is here and we're all going to love it. So
one thing I disagree with you, Eli. Press conferences are boring. I am completely behind Nintendo with their new approach. I mean, if everyone could
I agree. I agree with Jason. I feel like there's so many opportunities for press conferences that go horribly wrong or just be boring, that Nintendo really cut down on the awkwardness and potential badness of their E3 experience. I mean, there are a couple awkward moments at E3 during the digital event, but that happens, especially the first try on this kind of thing, and the Invitational also had some kind of bumps there, but I mean the production value and I can't even say how much the Invitational was awesome, but the digital event itself I think was also pulled off very well, very cleanly, very smoothly, for the most part.
The one thing I want to point out, and we already talked about press conferences versus no press conferences and another radio, but the one thing I want to point out really quick is I thought it was really weird that literally 20 minutes after the press conference ended, Nintendo announced 3 new games. Or 20 minutes after the digital event at their Treehouse or Nintendo Minute or whatever, they announced Mario Party 10, and they announced 2 other games, but I can't remember them off the top of my head, and that was super weird.
I don't know. Is that weird though?
It's kind of smart. I think.
Yeah.
They were really just continuously creating buzz. The digital events, bam, bunch of buzz. Then it's follow that up with just more buzz. They were just ruling the internet that day.
I mean, I'll tell you this. Backstage, we talked to Reggie, and we asked him. We kind of had a conversation about this, and he says it's very easy to be caught up in the the news cycle of E3. and fall behind, because there's constantly new things coming out, and I feel like they were trying to avoid that by really kind of catching people off guard with announcements seemingly out of nowhere, but they're really not out of nowhere because it's E3. Anything could happen.
Yeah, and you never know if it ended up working out for the better or not. But I want to.
No, Ridley was the worst part.
Well, I want to move on to a few game announcements. First one, Zelda.